Hello, I'm Matthew Finch.
And I'm Nicholas Boyett.
And we did the Utility Stand Invasive Species Removal Project.
In this project, our stakeholder was Dr. Lane.
We had two main species of concern in this project, the Chinese tallow and the Chinese privet, although we did do an initial stand cruise to mark off any native trees we wanted to keep or non-natives that we wanted to eradicate besides these two, and we did not find any. We did our project on the northwest side of the utility stand located on ABEC's campus along Moore Highway. We used two techniques to eradicate these species, the hack and squirt and the cut stump techniques, which we'll go over more in later slides.
During this project, we worked with another group, which was Evan Schumann and David Johnson. In total, there was 40 hours completed on the job, and with our group, we did 10 hours apiece. It didn't take much time. It was hard, it was hot, but everything went good. We did 10 hours. It took us 4 days. We averaged 2 hours to 3 hours per day, and it was from 9:14 to, it took us a week.
So like I said, we did our project in the utility stand, which you can see we outlined here in red, and the main section that we worked in is here outlined in white. And just for reference, this is Moore Highway going along here, and this is UGA's cattle pasture, and this is the railroad tracks going back behind it. And I don't know if you can see or not. I know it's hard to see on the computer through the video, but there's a lighter patch colored of trees here, and those are actually hardwoods, and that's where we mainly found all the tallow and the privet and high densities that we worked on. And there actually was a lot of privet trees on the other side of the fence line here on the UGA's property, and they're leaning over the fence on the utility stand, and that may be a problem for the future.
There were multiple goals to this project. Mainly, the main goal for this project was to eliminate as much as we could of the invasive species in order for there to be a better and safer burn through that stand. In the past, Dr. Hall has used this area for teaching his fire ecology class and had hoped to expand the area to be able to burn in the future. It was way too dense in areas for you to get a safe, efficient burn through the area. Trees and stumps could cause snag-ups of equipment or even people. Another good goal of this stand is to improve the aesthetics. This stand is located right along the highway of ABEC and is very visible to anybody passing by the school. If you were able to go through and clear that stand out, it would look so much better from the road just for bypasses and for students that see it every day. The future goal of this project was to eventually get rid of the majority of any invasive species or any unwanted species and come back through and plant pond pine. It'd be really good. It'd be something that the dendro classes could use in the future. And you could also, the natives could grow better in the area, and it would just make good for fire ecology class and dendrology classes.
So we used two main tools for the main chopping or hacking process of this. We used a machete and a hatchet, and the machete is really the better tool all around. It was good for large and small trees. If the tree was at least, let's say, 1.5 inches in diameter or smaller, it was easy just to do one swing at the base and do a quick cut stump treatment on the tree. And the hatchet was really good for the larger trees that we had to girdle all the way around, and it was just a heavier, more solid piece of equipment, and we could knock off more bark and wood out easier.
To apply the chemical for this project, we used just your average Windex spray bottle. The school did provide some, but we ended up going to Dollar General and buying our own for $2, and they worked completely fine and worked the same. The chemical we used in this project was triclopyr. Triclopyr is just a herbicide used to kill woody vegetation. The mix ratio we used was a 30% triclopyr and 70% water. The triclopyr was dyed with a blue dye for multiple reasons. For one, there were multiple events going on that involved chemicals at this time, so it was a good way to differentiate one chemical from the other. The dye was also used for in the field. It could tell you exactly where you were spraying, what you were spraying. You didn't want to be spraying something you weren't supposed to be spraying, so you knew that if you were getting chemical on the other surface of another leaf or something, you were able to know and correct yourself from there. The spray bra is very nice for whenever you were doing the hack and squirt and you were just cutting a little slit into the tree. You could easily just squeeze the trigger above the cut and it would just drip directly down into the cut. So it was very nice for that.
The hack and squirt technique is a very common, simple, effective technique and is used for smaller trees and large shrubs. The process is done by simply chopping. For larger trees, you chop on either side of the tree and you can drizzle the herbicide down into the cuts. And for smaller trees, you really just need one cut. But you need to make sure that the cuts are more like a bowl shaped, going downwards, so they can hold the herbicide in more and at least deep enough to go into the cambium layer.
Another thing I would like to add in is for the bigger diameter trees, which we came across, some 16-inch DBH tallow trees and some big privet. But there were a lot of bigger diameter trees in the area, and so for that process, we like to girdle the complete stem of the tree, as like in that picture. That just gave for the best kill ratio you could get. We just girdled around the whole tree and sprayed the whole tree.
And the cut stump technique we mainly used for the smaller trees that we came across. But like I said, it was mostly done with a machete, and we could go and chop right at the base of the tree and spray the stump that we had cut.
We wanted to use this picture just because it is a good picture to use, but it's a good picture to show of how you're supposed to do something and how you're not supposed to do something. In this picture, we've cut as close to the base of the tree that we could. That helps for snag ups and can also help prevent from popping a tire in the future if you were to drive a UTV or a four-wheeler through there. The bad part about this picture is if you were to look closely, it's honestly probably a little too much chemical on the stump, but as you can tell, we sprayed this chemical instead of letting it drip over it, and from the spray you can see little bits of blue on leaves that we weren't trying to kill but didn't hurt because it's just blackberry, and that is an invasive. This slide shows you some of the PPE, personal protective equipment, that we used for this project. We mainly used these items because we were spraying chemicals. We like to use long sleeve shirts, long sleeve pants, gloves, boots, and sunglasses. We like to use the long sleeve pants, the gloves, and the long sleeve shirt just because when you were spraying that chemical, it was spraying. I mean, it would splash sometimes if you were down there on the knee, getting close to it. And just if you were to ever leak any bottles or have anything leaking out the bottle or anything, it just run on you. It just keeps the chemical off of you because it can be dangerous. Closed-toe shoes, boots. We were in a muddy area at sometimes. I mean, the boots were nice, but just having a closed-toe shoes so there wasn't any chemicals getting on you. Sunglasses, chemicals can be absorbed into your eyes. They can be absorbed through your lungs, your skin. We like to use the sunglasses just in case we were to have any get in our eye. As well as the glasses were good for whenever we were hitting on the tree and chopping the wood. Sometimes debris would come back into your face, and it's all about being safe. Safety is the number one priority in anything you do.
And talking about safety again, we did come across one safety concern, and we found, I don't know if you can see it, a huge hornet's nest out there that we tried to avoid that area the best we could, which luckily it was right up against the train tracks. We didn't have to go in that area that much. But also we had to look out for things such as snakes and other ground wasps and all sorts of animals that can really be a danger to you in the woods. Another thing our stakeholder, Dr. Lane, asked us to be careful of is looking for possible hazards such as trees that we put treatment on that could be leaning over the railroad tracks, that obviously in the future they could fall over and fall onto the tracks or just cause all sorts of problems.
Yeah, the hornets were scary, but cool to look at. So, and this is just a picture we took. As you can see, there's lots of blue, if you can see it, everywhere in the picture. Like I stated, you want to try to get as low as you can on these trees. It just helps for a cleaner area, a better area for in the future use. But I mean, almost every tree you see in this picture was tallow. It was hit with chemicals. You can see there was already some trees laid down that we had gotten before. I mean, this place was ate up with Chinese tallow and Chinese privet pretty evenly, and it would be something to see this place cleaned up and have a new understory and everything. There was a lot of trees in there.
And this is just one area that we worked on here, mainly of privet that you can see. And this is just for reference of kind of before picture where we really didn't get much work done into there. And you can see all just the shoots of privet coming up. And over here is more of an after picture, as you can see, is a lot more clear. There's a little more privet left over, which we got to later on. But you can see how much of a mass there were of trees and privet and tallows that we had to take care of.
Yeah, we just thought it was a pretty cool picture. I told him to stand there at first. I was like, I can get a good picture after this. And so we actually ended up coming back through. That was tallow. That's tallow. You can see one's falling right there. One's girdled. That was privet. I mean, that was just a picture where it was pretty compacted in there. But I mean, all that eventually we got rid of it.
So we came out to the field 3 weeks after we sprayed the herbicide to assess the effectiveness of our herbicide treatments. And just for reference, we have 3 trees here that we fully girdled and sprayed the herbicide treatment on. And as you can see looking up, all the leaves are starting to turn brown, which means the tree's starting to die and hopefully means our treatment worked.
The summer before this fall semester, the school had a couple students come out here and apply the herbicide the same way we did. And just to show you a reference to what the tree would eventually look like in a couple months, as you can tell, these trees were hit, and the tree is obviously dying as the bark is easily peeling off. The trees are dead. This tree was hit. You can tell this tree was hit, and it's just, as you can tell, it just goes to show you that the herbicide is working effectively and will work. And this concludes our presentation. We really enjoyed working with you, and we also enjoyed helping out the school. This was a fun, but it was a learning experience for me and Matthew. I have not had much practice with the hack and squirt technique, but learning that it is a very easy and efficient way to kill an unwanted species.
And we also learned how to conserve our herbicide and be more accurate and know how much to spray on which tree versus small and large trees.
Yeah, over time we definitely got better with the process and what we were doing. It definitely it could use some more work, and I'm hoping in the future we can get the invasive species out of there, and it would be nice to see some new pines getting planted in there, and it would be a good stand to use for future references. Thank you.